Now we're just about to start the installation of our plantation shutters, and in the kit you'll receive these screws here for the hinges, these Hoffman keys to hold the L frame together, the little round striker plates with the screws to hold the panels closed, and the little installation stickers. Now, to assist with the installation of the plantation shutters, we do have this installation kit available on the iSleek Blinds website, and what you get is a 5mm drill for drilling your L frame. You get a PH1 and PH2 bit for the installation. We'll send you an assortment of packers at different sizes and also the installation screws. So let's go ahead and assemble our L frame, and the markings that I'm looking for is this little stamp here. Now this one says T for top, L for left, R for right, and then B for bottom. Now you can see I've got the painter's tape and I've put that at the top, so I've always wanted to know where my top is, and we're going to use the Hoffman keys just to join the miters together. Now if you do have a T-post, depending on the kit you've got, the T-post will mount into the front and that will be called T-post 1, T-post 2, etc. The other kit, the T-post will screw in from the top, in through the top and the bottom of the L frame if necessary. So let's go ahead and assemble the frame. We're just going to pop our Hoffman key in there, just using a little board underneath to make sure that I get a nice level line. Okay. Now let's go ahead and use the hinge screws to attach the hinges into the side of the L frame. Now the L frames are pre-marked, so I can see the holes at the top and the bottom where the hinges are to be installed. The hole I'm going to use is just these two oval shaped holes, and I'm not going to do the screw tight because I'm going to need to get some adjustment to move my panel up and down in a few moments. So let's just go ahead and fit those off. Okay, so now I've positioned the L frame in the window, and you can see I've just given a little bit of a wobble around, and I can see that I've got a couple of little clearances here and there. So it's really important with plantation shutters that we start with a level base. And what I like to do is make sure my corners are packed really tight, so when I put my screws in, I don't open up those miters. So we're going to make sure everything's level, and we're just going to wedge it in place using our packers. So let's just go ahead and get that done. Now I've got my frame nice and square and everything's sort of wedged in as tight as I can. What I'm going to do is just pre-drill the frame. So that's where I use my 5mm drill bit. And what I'm going to do is drill a hole here and here and there and there. And what that means is when I put the panels in, I'll just be able to move the frame sort of left and right just to square up my panels and see how everything's sitting. Okay. So now I go back to my PH2 bit and I'm going to use my installation screws, and I'm just going to put these screws in these four corners here, and that will allow me to make some adjustments once the panels go in. So let's just go and get that. Okay, so now we're going to install the plantation shutter panels, and you can remember the stickers that I did when I built this shutter kit. This is the top and this is panel number 1. So panel number 1 is always from left to right. So let's go ahead and install these. Okay. So now let's just open and close the shutter panels, and the hinges are loose at this point, and we have got some height adjustments. So let's just see what they look like when they open and close. And now all my lines are really good, but I'm a little bit low. So I'm just going to get the shutter panel and I'm going to lift it slightly. And I'm going to use those two oval shaped holes in the hinges to lift it and then tighten that screw up and then just get that line perfectly straight. Okay, perfect. So now that everything's going well, the shutters are opening and closing, my lines here are good, my packers are all still in place. Now I want to secure my bottom frame down. So I'm going to pre-drill and put a screw on the bottom here and also one there. Now if you've got a big frame, you may also put one in the middle, but always ensure that you're putting the screw close to a packer so that everything stays nice and straight. So let's just go and get that done. So now that we're happy, the panels, the heights are good, the left and right is good, everything's square, my lines are good. What we're going to do is just lock the height of the plantation shutter panel. So you'll see there's a little round hole in the middle of that hinge on all of them. We're going to put the screw in that round hole and that will just now set our height in position. So let's go and get that done. Here in the hinge that goes into the L frame, and we're just going to set these in place and just hold our height perfectly. Okay, now we've got our little striker plates to fit into the L frame, and that's going to hold our plantation shutter panels closed. So there's, in this instance, because there's two panels, there's two here and there's two here. So let's go and get that done. So the last thing we're going to do is just use no more gaps, and we're just going to caulk around the outside edges of the L frame, and that's just going to stop any sort of light coming through and just fix up any of our little imperfections here. So I like to leave my shutter packers, these packers here in place, and I'll just caulk around here. I'll let that set for a couple of hours and then I'll take my packers away and then finish off my caulking. That's how I do it. So we hope that you've had an awesome outcome building and installing your plantation shutters, and if you need us, just reach out.